whatever. And yeah, got it. Thank you.
So Marwa, should I say something now? Okay, so hello everyone. Hello Vladimir. Good to meet you. So yeah, basically I'm the director of this master's program in educational technology at the University of Tartu, which is in Estonia, if you don't know it. Let's say that as Estonians, we are very much sympathetic. We took it really personally. I mean, what is happening in Ukraine is something that is happening to us as well, in spite of the fact that our houses are still up. We don't have war, but we're very, very close to you, very close to what is going there. By the way, we are actually hosting a Ukrainian in our house, and I also have here a Ukrainian dog. Her name is Mafi. So as I said, we're participating in all of this. And when I say we, I mean personally, but also the University of Tartu, because the University of Tartu decided to provide up to 15 free positions in our master's program. And I'm going to briefly show you the website so that you have a point of reference. I will also share the link with you.
Yeah,
so
we've
this
checked
is
already. So this is a great program to our opinion, and it's so focused in education and in technology, which is very modern, and so should be very interesting. And also,
yeah, I mean,
that it's online, which is very comfortable for, and it's a quite short term. So must be.
It's 10 months. It's 10 months. Yes, it's 10 months. As I said, there are free positions. It's actually blended, not fully online, but over the past 2 years, because of COVID, it was actually online, and we are prepared in case you cannot come to provide a hybrid solution. So you don't necessarily need to come to Tartu. This is all from my side. I mean, this is also a master's program that is project-based, so it's not like a traditional master's course in which you have to read many things. It's also hands-on and practice-based. And we actually thought, I mean, we are advertising it as a chance for Ukrainian teachers and lecturers to get support to organize their own online or blended learning. So this is it. I put the link in the chat in case you're interested. The deadline is the 1st of June. If you have any question, let me type my my email. So if you have any question, any question, anything to ask, please turn to me. I will be very happy to answer your questions. And this is it from my side. If there are questions, I'm here. I will stay here for a while with my little dog here. Nothing.
Yeah, thank you.
One more thing, the master's program is in English. So this is actually the language that we use.
Thank you, Emmanuel. So in case we don't have questions from our audience, we can move to the next presentation from Tatia. So Tatia, are you ready?
I think so.
So you can start. The floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tatia Johnson, and I am also the graduate of this master's program, and I cannot recommend you enough. This is really, really awesome program. And the fact that we have this Tartu at the community is because we, the ones who graduated it, didn't want to leave. So we created this so to say group and platform so that we can keep one foot in, because it is really awesome. And Emmanuel has done really great job. And so if anybody is thinking about applying, I would recommend it wholeheartedly. And I'm even jealous of everyone who has yet to start this program. So I am also, right now I am doing the PhD at the University of Cambridge, and I'm researching learning. My main questions are how teachers learn, and also more specifically also what is learning at all. But and I'm also a storyteller and a researcher. So today my presentation is going to be a bunch of stories around my observation. Let me try to share my presentation. It didn't work in the test regime, so I'm going to try again. Fingers crossed. Can you see?
It's loading. Yeah. School, what school?
Yeah. Okay. So you see, and so do you still see the presentation, and is it clear?
It's changing size of the screen, but
okay.
it's very nice. We can see video of flowers.
Okay. 1 minute. I'm going to adjust just a bit so that it's better, because I have my notes here, which I don't want to miss next to it. All right. So little bit about me is that I was living in Ukraine for the past 3.5 years. And my children spent most of their lifetime in Ukraine, and it was our home. And when the war started on the 24th of February, luckily I was already out of the country, so I didn't have to think about the safety of my own children, and I was able to observe what was going on. So today I'm going to share these observations in the diary format. The 24th of February, yeah, this is all about use of technology around school and around education and learning. So the 24th of February, it started with a big mess. While everyone was in shock what was going on, and we were reading news and everything, and the very first messages in the parents' Viber group chat, which I'm part of because of my 2 children, was this: are they going to have school today? For me, it was a bit of a weird question. I already told my children that there will be no school. And we're talking about online schooling at that time. I wasn't in the country, but the school was going on online. But still, there was this confusion. And it was not just one parent asking, there were several. And there was some discussion back and forth about this topic until just one parent says, I understand Russian. I mean, for those who don't, it just says, like, one of them says, are they going to have school today? And then there's this answer, what kind of school were they talking about? Something like that. So, this topic then ended about whether or not we're going to have school today. And soon we started checking in. Where's everyone? This is all going on in the parents group, and then we checked in where we are and how are we doing, if we're safe. And soon the school issued the official letter that no, there will be no school. And then the topic changed again in the chat. Now that we knew that everyone was safe, we started talking about what to do. And there was some advice shared, how to communicate with our children. And yeah, that was it. The first initial shock, aftermath. This was the kind of diary entry of the first day. It was a big chaos and nothing more. The next day was totally different. Next day, it was silence. Chilling silence. None of the 3 parenting groups popped up. There was no messages. There was no email from school. Absolutely nothing. Just no chaos, no mess, just silence. And I think silence said it all. And the next day, 2 days after. It was a day of short messages. Sometimes it was sent during odd hours of the day and night. This is sent in at almost 4 a.m. None of us were sleeping, of course. And well, the message says, "Не выходите," which means don't come out. And the answer is 1 minute later, we're not coming out. And I also, privately, I got this one-word messages such as this one, safe. And I found this single-word question to be very meaningful. So this was the main communication that was going on in these first days. But after that, things changed. Starting from February 27th and onwards, this parents group and also all the other group chats that I was part of became some kind of community, totally different on what we first started for. It also became kind of an educational group. So this is what was shared. The latest announcements were shared. Sometimes fake news were shared in there, and then other parents were educating each other that it's fake news and which ones are fake and which is not. And there were some resources shared how to distinguish the fake news, which was very interesting. Then there was this, we were really helpful to each other and shared about locations of nearby bomb shelters. At that moment, my husband was in Kiev, and I was also very actively involved in all of this volunteering activities, what we could do, everybody that was shared, and also our experiences and know-hows, as they say. For those who managed to leave Kiev, for example, they shared which roads they took, almost in the live format, and which border crossing was the quickest. And this information was spreading so quickly through this chat, and somebody would write in one chat and then they would reshare it in all the other chats, and it was much faster than news or even the other Telegram channels. And I found this very, very interesting and useful use of technology. So all this useful information. And there was also emotional support. People who were scared, they would write about their feelings and their emotions, and others would try to comfort them. And we also asked and offered help to each other. So this parenting group, where a few days before we were talking about grades and homeworks, became this, which I don't know, for me it was, I also like to observe communities and online communities, and for me this was kind of mind-blowing. I also personally, I was doing dance lessons, and my dance teacher in that Viber group chat became the organizer of pet support. She would share lots of news about the pets, how to take care of them, the stray pets, the pets who were left in the house, and what to do and how to feed them, and all of the things. And people just started offering the community what they could, and this was really great. Yeah, let's talk about our children. This is Lazi, my 10-year-old. And he witnessed my initial shock and first reactions, and it was not pretty, but I still managed to deliver him the news and everything what was going on in a safe format. I was his main source of information. So it went okay. Yes, I was worried, and of course he was also worried, but I don't think that it traumatized him much. I didn't watch news in front of him, and he continued to have kind of a normal childhood. He was playing outside. He did play some pretend fighting games, which usually I don't allow, but I mean, with swords and everything. But this time this kind of things was allowed to help him process and express the emotions. So it went all well with Lassie, but then there's Lucas, my 11-year-old son, and at that time he was in a boarding school. And I was actually happy that he didn't witness my shock and emotions and panic attacks. So I thought that he was safe, but I was so wrong because I didn't realize he has a phone. And he's not alone, he's not isolated. There are other students, the teachers in that school, and of course people talked. And also he was part of WhatsApp group chats with his Ukrainian classmates, and things they shared there, not only the personal stories, but also some videos, unfiltered videos, which you know what kind of videos were circulating at that moment. And he saw it all, and I didn't know, and things that he could not unsee. And when he came home on that weekend, I was pretending that it was all fine, but once he opened up about his worries, I knew that it affected him much stronger. So that was one of my lessons that I didn't realize about the way that technology could go, how far technology could go. But he doesn't check the news, so I didn't realize that there's also all the other sources. Yeah. So I also allowed them use of technology devices. Of course, I was monitoring them much more closely, and usually they're not allowed. Even during COVID, I was quite strict about not letting them use too much devices, but because I was preoccupied with the other things, I let them. And it was turned out quite useful. For example, Lazi started cooking. I didn't think about food at all, but Lazi started cooking. He found recipes online and went into the kitchen, and he even baked bread out of scratch, out of flour and everything. It was tasty, and lots of other things which he found by himself without any help from me. And he also, this was very interesting, that he plays Minecraft, and he built bunkers in the Minecraft under his house, and he put lots of beds in there and food, and was saying that this is for my friends who are still in Ukraine, and we will all be safe if we're there. And he also did similar activities in Scratch. And I was just observing it. I wasn't really being too involved in this, but I saw that he was processing his worries and trauma through this kind of expression, and I was there in case he needed me. Yeah, and I also allowed lots of TV, which he of course enjoyed it. Yeah, on the March 3, online school started, which was relief. I have to say that my children were in private school, in international school, German international school. So this is not, I'm not talking about the experience of all the schools. So this is what was going on. And I really like what the school did actually. And I want to share this. This is what was going on during the online school. The main reason why they started the online school was to check in people, the teachers, the ones who were in safety, not the ones who were in Ukraine, ones who already had left the country. Those were the ones delivering these so-called lessons. And the main thing was to check in, to say that we are here and I see you, you are there. And they were talking. They talked a lot. The kids had a lot of things to express and to just process what was going on. I'm talking about fourth graders, four and sixth graders. But it was interesting to see teachers even allowed the kids to kind of share aggressive words and talk very passionately about things, and they didn't forbid them, and teachers even kind of encouraged them. And it was really interesting to watch, because this was not usual school, usual languages that they would use. And then kids had to share. Some shared how their grandma's apartment was bombed, but thankfully she survived. And another, the teacher, I don't know exactly how this happened, but during the online lesson, Lazi came to me and his eyes were teary, he was crying, and he told me that his teacher was in the bunker. I don't know if the teacher was delivering the lesson from the bunker or they just talked about it, but it was though he was personally affected by this. And then there was talk about this and what was going on in the words of children, which was sometimes not very nice, but there was this teacher to monitor and to guide the conversation. And the main biggest reason, which I really loved this online school, was to see each other safe. For example, my child, he has friends and he has this girl, Alexandra, who he was in love with, and he could not see Alexandra for many days. He didn't have contact. And for several days during the online school, Alexandra was not in there. And he was very, very worried. And one day when Alexandra appeared during the online class, that day was the lightest day for Lazi because he saw her that she was safe. And that was very nice. And so this online school, which continued and still continues, was starting to give them the feeling of normal life, the routine, that kids didn't have to think all the time about the war. And there was something to get up in the morning for, and there was these structures, which was very nice. And what did they learn was, of course, they didn't have normal math and German and Ukrainian and all of the main school subjects, but they learned, the teachers were very smart in designing their lessons this way, that they learned what was relevant for them. For example, they learned about the countries which was neighboring Ukraine and countries where the children had fled to. So all these different countries, where were they, the geography, especially the ones where children were, and what kind of culture was there, what kind of currency, the language that they used, and each day one child had to make a presentation about their own country and their own city where they left. So they also learned presentation skills. This was very, very nice and the most useful way to for me to conduct the lesson. And this is my last slide. So these are I just listed down some of my thoughts about what we could pay more attention to. Cybersecurity turned out to be the one of the main worry for me, also for me, because I also saw so many unfiltered videos and things that really traumatized me, which I shouldn't have. And because I was part of these Telegram group chats, and the information just flows there. Sometimes they're even fake, and so I can imagine children being exposed to all of this unfiltered content, and what kind of trauma that can induce. So I think that we have to take more care and learn and teach about cybersecurity. I also heard that some of the high schoolers were involved in organizing and of volunteering opportunities and being involved in other people's volunteering activities, and which gives at least older kids some kind of purpose to that what the part that they can play in this chaos. And first aid courses, it was organized, my work organized actually first aid courses very quickly. And I also think that it is quite relevant and it can be done online. And this whole thing made me made me think of the good and evil of technology. Yes, we were able to check on each other and see our friends safe and share information about where is the bunker or which road are the safest. But also there was this negative information. I hated going on Facebook because it was lots of negative things were shared and it affected me badly. And there was, the triggers. Even now, even though I didn't spend too much time in Ukraine, there are some words and images and sounds that just trigger me. And I'm thinking that also it is not just subjective to me, but it will be for everyone. For example, a week after the war, there were sirens in this village, which in Germany, and it was just to test it out. And when I started listening to the sirens, I got a big shock, and I started physically responding to that. And there's also some images that I see that can be something very normal daytime. For example, the image of an apartment building, but my mind is expecting that I will see it blow up. So that's going to take some time for me to recover. And also some words. So I'm thinking that teachers especially have to be careful about these triggers and have to be more sensitive about the language that we use. And the last is to reprioritize. Yes, sometimes parents can be pushy, that they want the education, they want the school to continue, but this is different times. So I don't think that people care too much about grades and school performance and the content of the lesson, and if we're catching up with the curriculum and everything. So I think that, and also we have to all think that teachers are their own persons. They have family life and they have personal lives, and they are not the robots who can just continue delivering the lessons without thinking of what is going on around. I'm going to stop sharing. So that is my main message, that parents, I am talking as a parent, that we see you, we thank you that you still think about education even though what is going on, and we are very, very grateful for what you have done first during the COVID. That was just amazing. And now, even now, that you people think about education and think about what to do in schools is just truly amazing. So I think I'm done. If you have any questions, you can also talk to me in Russian, I understand, or write it, or later. I'm here.
Thank you,
Tatya. Thank you very much. And I can also give feedback that we've experienced some of what you are saying, not everything. And also I was really surprised when my youngest son, which he's 20 now, he was very, very emotionally touched by this remote media. And so, yeah, this is one of that. Second, all this, horizontal communication, let me call it, not media through media, but horizontal communication is proved itself as very, very effective, because it's still due to the technology. It's very rapid, I mean, almost online, and also it's supported the trust you have to the source of information, different from media. I'm talking about this, chats, not like Telegram channels, which are also some like media, but all this horizontal or local or community-based chats. So yeah, it was very helpful.
Yes.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tatya. Thank you, Vladimir. Do you have any questions from our audience? Anyone has a question? Or we can jump to the next step. Okay. let's go for the next presentation. The next presentation was supposed to be to one of our colleagues, Ergi. He was supposed to give a presentation about virtual labs, but he got stuck in the airport for many hours. So I'm going to give this instead of him. So I hope you will get the most benefits out of what I'm going to give you. But it's going to be a hands-on presentation. It's a 30 minutes of hands-on work, and it's not going to be a presentation with the slides. So in order to start, I would like to know, I know that most of the attendants, our audience, are from teaching STEM subjects. So I would like just to know the fields that you're teaching or focusing in: mathematics or science, general sciences or physics or chemistry. If you can write on the chat, what is your field of you are specialized in, that would be helpful in what I'm going to say next. So what are your specializations? Is programming, Vladimir? Yeah. What about the rest? Okay. So is it about, is most of them, yeah, some robotics things. So is the majority of focusing on robotics and programming? Okay.
Yeah, most sophisticated, yes.
Okay. Okay. But do you teach, so how it goes in Ukraine? This is something I need to know before proceeding. So you have IT classes in which you focus on robotics and coding, or the mathematics and physics teacher join robotics classes as well? Hello, hello.
Meaning computers and robotics stuff, then classes organized, meaning that there are like shifts, so different classes of children visiting this classroom and having weekly lessons. This is one type. But second type, we prefer, this is after school lessons. After school lessons is mainly for mixed groups, not meaning that this is obligatory for one class. So it's like mixed group for children who are interested in that. And then we can deliver more advanced curriculum to them, even sometimes finishing with WRO competition. So, and within these lessons, yes, we teach some mechanics. We teach, of course, programming based, which programming languages we have, and starting from visual based like Scratch or whatever, and finishing with Python. And then we go to project, meaning that we're assembling something, then programming, and then trying to achieve some results. So this is the most popular way.
So I would like to introduce you to FET Labs. I'm going to put the link on the chat, and I would ask you to go there because I would like to play with you a bit there. Okay. So just 1 second. So once you are there, just let me know to tell you about the next step. I love Pet Labs because I used to play with them since I was in my first year in engineering school. And I found them very inspiring that time because I liked lasers, and I used to play with their laser lab, although I wasn't specialized yet in lasers, but that was my passion at that time. So after that, I continued my studies in laser communication. But I mean, this is how labs can affect what I want to say, that playing with those labs is really beneficial for kids if they have a passion toward a certain subject or a certain thing that they want to play with, like atoms, something in the chemical bondings and things like that. So that's why it's really one of the interesting things. I'm going to share my screen, just 1 second. So you see here, there is a group of collection of different topics. I choose here physics because it's the most one related to when we teach robots. We focus on teaching the students about things related to electricity, things related to motion. So you can find a lot of things here, and all of those resources are for free. So that's why I see that virtual labs are a really precious resource when it comes to crucial conditions, when you can't go to the physical labs, or if you are interested to show, to visualize a certain experiment with your students. So you find here a lot of experiments in different subjects, okay? I would like to play with you on something, a game. And since you teach robotics and coding, you're supposed to emotion. There is here, I opened already those, but I need you to open those experiments in a separate window. You have Coulomb's law. This is one. And let's see where it is.
Mm-hmm.
This is Coulomb's law, and the other one is the gravity force lab. I just can't see it in the big screen. Not the gravity and all, but the gravity. Okay, open. Yes. Now, as you know, this I don't know how far you are familiar, and also there is Ohm's law, which is very interesting if you are going to. By the way, if you're going to join the WRO Open Challenge this year, or if you're going to join the self-driving car, the basic thing that you need to give to the children is the basic laws related to electricity. This is the first thing that they need to know, because they are going to use electronic circuits, so they need to know things like Ohm's law. I can go over this as well. So, but here. This is the Coulomb's law. It's a very nice law, which I like. And it's very, very similar to the gravity force law. And this is why both laws are very interesting, because both are taking place in two different masses. We can't see electrons, for example, but we can see different masses like balls or any big subjects like the moon and the earth. Okay, so what's going on here in Coulomb's law is we have two charges, Q1 and Q2, and this law is saying that each Q of them, each charge of them is affecting the other one. And the force each charge is affecting the other is related to the distance between those charges. Okay. And what is interesting is it goes the same with the gravitational law. If you have two masses, mass 1 and mass 2, each one is affecting the other with a certain force, and the distance is the same. The difference between the two laws is, instead of putting the amount or the value of the charge, we put the mass. So let us play and see what's going on in those. what is good in PhET simulations is they give you those things that help you in teaching, like topics. There's a sort of a structure, sample of the learning goals, and some things here you can find it below. Okay. So let's click here. Let's see. Now I uploaded the simulation of the gravity force lab, the simulator. So you see here, this is force of mass 2 of this ball on mass 1. And the distance between them is 4 kilometers. And here the mass 1 is 2 billion kilogram and mass 2 is 4 billion kilogram. And what is interesting is both are affecting each other with the same force. So mass 2 is affecting mass 1 with the same value. Mass 1 is affecting mass 2. And we used to use those equations when it comes to the space and satellite communication, because we want to see the forces affecting the Earth between the satellite and the moon to the Earth, and those calculations. We used to use this law. Now, here's the fun part, that if you started to put 1 kilogram, for example, or change the value, you will start to see immediately the changes going on in this law. And we can move it like this. So you see, the farther is the object, the less is the gravitational force. So the value here is 3.2. When I get it closer, it's 13.8. So this is one of the fun tricks. Now, if we go to the Coulomb's law, we here are working on macro scale and atomic scale, because we are working on the charges. So you see here, we have Q1 and Q2, both are having forces against on each other's, and it's with the same value as we saw with the big masses. And here we have a charge 1. This is its value, negative. I was playing, so I use it. Put zeros here. So if the two charges are, both of them are zeros, we don't have any sort of forces. But let me change charge 1 and give a value for charge 2. We can see here the value is 1.99.723 Newton. And if I get them closer together, the value, the force increases. And if I get them farther from each other, the forces that they are casting on each other will decrease. And also you can see here that the charges can be negative and positive, because if it's an electron or positive electron, it's going to be a negative charge. If it's going to be a proton, it's going to be with a positive charge. So you can keep playing with differences on the charges. So this is a sample of the labs. It's open to the teachers to choose how they can use those labs. It's there is nothing specific I can tell you to use it, but it's up to you. I would like to just to know that it's there and that you can work with it. This one is the funniest one and most related when we teach the first baby step when it comes to electronics. So we have here Ohm's law, which you can play and illustrate to your students. And Ohm's law, what he said, this guy, is he found the relation between the potential energy and the electric energy and the resistance. And when we are going to build any sort of electronic circuit, we keep our tools with us with this ammeter and keep checking what are we receiving from currents. And this is really important when you are not working with Lego anymore. Otherwise, you can find at a certain point that there is zero charges and you are not aware of that. So that's why your robot or whatever you are building is not going to work. So what Holmes said is he found this relationship between the electric current resistance and the voltage. So if we increase the voltage here, we can see the increase in the current, but my resistance is fixed. But if I increase the resistance, the current is going to go low. And so on. So this is also about Ohm's law when it comes to the electronic lab. In case you want to go farther with that, with the electronics part, and want to have more advanced simulations, then I advise you to go to Tinkercad. And this one I use to teach distance learning, to teach teachers and teach students how to build more complicated circuits. Because the one I just show you in FETLab is a very basic one. So if you go to Tinkercad and sign in. Here you can find a group of designs from 3D designs that you can build here and print using the 3D printer, or the circuits part, which is my favorite part. You can see here, those are my circuits, actually, as Marwa, using Arduino. So I come here to play a bit, usually. But this is the most real thing that you can give to the students in distance learning when teaching electronics and robotics. It's going to allow you to code as well. So let me show you this one with the ultrasonic. So you can see here that we have the components on the right that you can choose from, as if you have a real library of electronics parts as you like. And here is the coding part, in which you can write your codes here. And then when you start simulation, you can have here, this is the ultrasonic. So the ultrasonic is supposed to, the code was about when the ball is approaching the ultrasonic, we can have this LED to light up. So you can see here that I can keep playing with the ball and change its range, and see what's going to happen with the LED. So you see here, I had to start and stop the simulation because it's working slow here. But you see the ball here, the LED didn't light up like the first time, because at the start my first time the ball was here. So this is one of the very interesting things. Tinkercad. You can find a lot of circuits and things related to motors and many things that you can play with. Since motors is one of the essential things, ultrasonic is one of the essential things, you can find all those pieces there, and you can build your own circuit and put your own programmer code there as well. You can see this one with a stepper motor, or you can have a DC motor here with each bridge. If you are aware of the each bridge, which we use with the different DC motors, to be able to control different motors with the Arduino, you will need to use this one. I thought, Vladimir, you asked me about robotics training, and I thought that I can go into details of those circuits with that training, because it needs not less than 2 complete hours or something to be able to go into details. But just to give you an idea, and in case you are already familiar with circuits, you can go ahead there and enter your own circuit. The last virtual lab I would like to give you a hint about is Go Labs. I'm going to post it on chat after we finish, because I just can't get so. And it also contains a different set of labs here, similar to FET a bit, but FET is, I do prefer FET. But here you can also find more and more simulators that you can use. There are in different languages also, so this is something could be good. I don't know if it's, there's Ukrainian here. Let me check. Yes, there is 122 experiment in Ukrainian language, so you can use them. So this is another one that you can use as well. And there are, if you talk in Russian, I don't know, there is the one, there are other experiments in Russian. So this is a brief about famous labs that you can use either in electronics and robotics, or if you are interested in physics, then you can go to FET and you can go to Go Labs. So I am done to this point. If you have any questions, just let me know. Hope it was beneficial for you, and it's something new that you are going to use in your teachings. Now we can go to Sevench. Sevench, are you ready? Thank you, Igor.
Thank you, Marwa. I am.
Okay, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm Sevinç. I'm from Turkey. By the way, I graduated from our EdTech program at 2019, and I'm a primary school teacher. I don't know if there's any primary school teacher or not, but basically right now I'm gonna share some helpful Web2 resources about primary school and the kindergarten school students. If you are not working in this area, maybe you can share these materials with your friends, and it may be helpful for you, I hope. And first of all, I'm so happy to be here with the educators who want to do more for their learners. I think above everything, it should be, let me say, you should be aware of this, that your efforts are so valuable and priceless. it may be impossible for us to understand your current struggles right now, but I hope we could help you somehow as much as we can with this event too. And I want to share with a personal anecdote from my own. Again, I want to say there's no comparison with the struggles that you are in right now, but I want to just share my own point of view about teaching. Normally, I'm kind of a teacher who tries to find some positive ways in each kind of situation while teaching. But however, I felt an unfamiliar negative emotion 2 years ago at the beginning of the pandemic, as you're all familiar with. We had to stay away from the regular classroom environment, etc. And we met with synchronous, asynchronous, distance, hybrid teaching, these kind of terms as teachers. And I realized that in some point, I found myself in the middle of learner, parent, administrator triangle. And I realized that everyone was waiting a solution from me. Like, actually, I'm a superhero. By the way, I realized right now I didn't share my screen. Wait, let me share it. So here is that, yeah. And everyone was waiting a solution from me as a teacher in that point. And I remember that in some point I wanted to quit teaching because there was a huge pressure on my shoulders. And I tried to sort a way to raise my own motivation. And as an effect of these, I read lots of self-improvement blogs or some books about teaching, and most of them were a little bit toxic motivator for me. But I realized that later. I forced myself to see myself as I'm a superhero. So in every struggle that we are dealing as a teacher, I forced myself to act like a superhero. I said that you're a teacher, they need you, you should do that, you have to find a solution, you have to work harder, even if you're not your working hours, etc. But as you guess, I didn't have any superpower and I wasn't a superhero, and working like you have some superpowers were so tiring and inefficient for my learners, for my students at the same time. The turning point was being aware of this situation, being aware of this reality. Actually, I'm not a superhero. I'm just a person. I can have some feelings. I can have some experiences. I cannot deal with every kind of situation in the teaching area in the education area as a teacher. I realized that. Then I see teachers just people that have a lot to learn, actually, I may say. By saying this, I don't want to decrease the value of our job, or I don't mean that we're doing something cheap or unvaluable. I just want to emphasize that we may not change everything in the educational area around of us. Every possible circumstances that affect our learners negatively, maybe. But somehow we can find some ways to improve our teaching, actually. And every time there can be a challenge. Challenges are inevitable for us, I think. And we can have some challenges in classroom management, or maybe we're teaching away from our students and they don't have enough devices, let's say, or they're not accessible, they cannot access to technological devices, let's say that. But in these kind of challenges, what should we do? What's the solution? I see the synchron as a solution here for each kind of challenge. What does it mean? I may say that in the dictionary meaning, we can see making small changes to something in order to improve or repair it. This is called as tinkering. But however, I can define it as some kind of exploration or a hands-on experience, or learning from our own failures and inventing something new. Please don't be afraid of this invention or exploration words, because it shouldn't be something complex. What should you do? You should just analyze your current situation. What's your problem? You have to just analyze it, and then you have to look at your own opportunities at your hand, and you have to use your opportunities to create something new to solve your problem, maybe. And this is called tinkering for me. And for example, I want to show you one of my experience about tinkering here. In the first picture, you see a VR headset. Let's say that it's hard to affordable for us. It's unaffordable for most of us. It's expensive, let's say. So what can we do? We can search for an alternative version, and that can be a Google Cardboard boxes, maybe for us. And you can buy it in any kind of shopping website, by the way. It's almost 10 or 12 euros, as I remember. And let's say that you cannot buy this one too. What can you do? You can just search for the do-it-yourself projects. Here is the tinkering appears, maybe we can say, and you can create your own VR headset by using the recycling, reusable materials, actually. Here is the example of this. Let me show. They're just using the plastic bottle from VR headset. Oh, sorry. Creating lenses with the plastic. Just water, by the way. Students can have the VR headset experience too. And here you see one of my own students, and we used Google Cardboard in the classroom, and just look at her expression, you will like it very much. And the only technological device is smartphone here, by the way. So, yeah. Now I want to show you some teaching resources. Most of them are Web tutorial websites, but those are for the young learners mostly. but you can be sure that with a little bit adaptation or with a little bit tinkering, you can create a new material for your higher grader students too, as I see actually. And let me explain the characteristics of young learners. If you are teaching a young learner, you cannot wait them to sit and listen to you in the webcam directly. You cannot give them a lecture. You have to somehow trigger their imagination, trigger their curiosity, and everything should be in the, let me say, like everything should be like a game for them, because when they play, when they are dealing with the games, they can learn so easily, so fast. So as a teacher, what should we do? We have to create, we have to just trigger their curiosity, and we have to just meet their needs somehow. We have to meet their game needs somehow. And I hope these resources can be helpful about them too. Here, the first one are song resources. In the first one, you can see an ORF technique. When we click on it, let's click and let me show it to you, by the way. When you click on it, you can see lots of different materials and also lesson plans that you can use, music, rhythm, and that you can integrate rhythm into your lessons actually. And by the way, here you can see some technological lesson plans too. And for example, there are some articles about how to use virtual keyboards in the lessons. They can be helpful for you, I think. And anything else, let me show you. Sorry. Sorry for this. What else we can do about songs? Here we have a YouTube channel, and in this YouTube channel you can have lots of different song materials, lyrics, and some lesson ideas for the young learners. And here are some other ideas for you too in these websites. Nursery rhymes and songs are really helpful while teaching the young learners, actually. If you want to integrate some music into your lessons, maybe these are useful for you. And while giving lessons with the young learners, we have some circle times. What does it mean, a circle time? You're just gathering together with the students, and in those circle times, there should be a group game or group activity, whole group activity, and students should be active. Student talking time should be so high here. And there is a webinar record on the right side. It can be really helpful to show you how to make it virtually online circle times. And under them, you can see some different activity ideas about the group games and circle times too. And then we have some games ideas here. And for the large group activities, you can just visit this website. And here there's a huge list for you. There's a huge pool for you. And if you want to search for the virtual lesson game ideas, you can visit these two websites. They are really helpful. And by the way, these are not only for the kindergarten students, so you can use them with the higher graders too. And we have online game platforms. This one is suitable for the lower levels, but when you look at FunBrain, you can, let me open it too actually. It's better to show it directly.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the materials from kindergarten to grade 8, and also these are helpful for the clear lessons, which contains mathematics and science too. Here you have some videos and some online extra games I think they can be helpful for the STEM teachers at the same time, not only the primary school teachers, as you see. And there's a math zone here. And in the math zone, you can see lots of different mathematic topics, which contains games directly. They can directly play the games. And here we are. Let me continue. So, and other ones, I use word wall a lot. In the word wall, even from kindergarten students to high school students, you can find lots of different materials. You can create some online quizzes, online games here. And there's a huge pool. So you can use different materials which are prepared with other teachers too. And also you can create your own material by using the sample structures there in the website, let me say. And Bamboozle game is so funny. They're having lots of fun while we're playing Bamboozle, and you can create some team group games in the Bamboozle, and it's some kind of a quiz website too, actually. And Nearpod is some kind of a platform that you can use it interactively with your students, like Wordwall and Bamboozle too, and you can reach lots of different materials there too. And here we are. I say that we have to trigger their imagination, and how we can trigger their imagination by using the science experiments. Maybe it can be a perfect way. Mostly, Scratch, right? Scratch is probably you are using it, and Scratch is the basic coding program, we may say, and even kindergarten students can create their own coding, their own algorithms there, I may say. And the other websites gives you different science experiment ideas, and I want to show you this one here, but I cannot show you. Interesting. Yeah, wait. In the first one, you can find lots of different experiments, and these experiments can be done with the materials that you can find easily at home. And that's the best way for it, I think. And when we continue, we see reading resources here. Those are the digital libraries, and they are free of charge, and you can download or you can print out the books materials there. And if you are away from your students, you can just support them with extra reading resources, maybe. And here we are, another reading resources you can see. And some of the books are audible. For example, in the story online, you can listen to books too. And here we are, we have some extra materials for you. Those can be downloadable, and you can print them out, and you can share with your students too, by the way. And they're not only for the primary students too, especially this one, education.com. You can hear lots of huge different materials for each kind of topic, even for the language lessons, and even for the math and science lessons. You can sort it maybe after the presentation. And I want to put you some extra reading resources. Maybe you can read and they can be helpful for you. Just, I want to show these articles to you because I know that we're having the hard struggling times right now, but in those times, the kids who need some special needs are ignored mostly. So maybe this can be helpful about to think how we can support them too. And here's any other articles about pandemic, about Thinkering itself. And maybe this can be helpful for you. And so I want to say one more time, your your efforts are so valuable, and I hope that you can be back to your normal life as soon as possible when we share your pain a lot. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sevinch. So I believe we are done for today. So in case anyone has any questions, please let us know.
Marwa, it's so many resources, especially done by Sevinch. So it's like, it's not even library, it's like whole world. And I believe we have experience for that. So let us check later. And anyway, I think I don't have any questions for myself. Probably my colleague or somebody has questions.
We still have time for questions. So in case you have any questions, please put it in the chat.
Okay, Mar, I have a question. So we really like hands-on because it's bring creativity and involvement, engagement in lessons. And you share your experience with, for example, Tinkercad. So how it works, Tinkercad and hands-on?
It's a long story, and this is very difficult question.
Yeah, I know, but it's interesting.
It's a very difficult question because I didn't believe in using Tinkercad alone before. I used to think that the best thing is to give the students directly this hardware sense. But that was a question in itself when I wanted to, we had a group of students in back 2018 wanted to study electronics with us, and they had to escape from the school. They had this school in which they have to sleep there, and they have to escape from the school to come to one of our hubs to join the electronics course. So that's why we wanted to have this online. That wasn't the pandemic that sparked this light in us or something. That was something else. So I would tell you it's almost the same experience. It depends on how you as a coach or a mentor are reaching this experience with them. And there is always this option that they can bring their hardware with them and they can work at home and try it out. The Tinkercad is completely similar to the reality. And actually in faculty, in my engineering days, we used to use simulators before putting our hands on hardwares to decrease the, to decrease the problems and that you might face and instructions. Me, I destroyed before an optical fiber cable that was like for 20 years in our faculty, and I just came in a one moment and I distracted it and it's not working anymore. But anyway, simulators are good on that sense that it gives you this hardware sensation. But what you are going to miss is the troubleshooting that you are going to face when you work with hardware. So Tinkercad is so close to reality, I would say, it's very, very close to reality, but always from rule of thumb, you are always going to face surprises when you go to the real thing. Because of a drop in the current, you made a wrong purchase, an electronic part which you purchased, but it's not working very well. All those things might jump in and you have to deal with.
Interesting, because it looks like it's almost, let's call it professional or adult tool for creating any electronics, which might be very helpful for children who wants to be specialized in that. Yes, and it might be like a initial tool, like bridge from childhood, from game, from hands-on to real one world. So might be. So we don't have such experience, and
I give it to many students myself. I tried and I trained others to give it as well. So I have those experiences, trainers, and we give it to different children, starting from 12 years old up, not less than this, and I give it to different. I give it to Tevet vocational education students as well.
Mhm,
And for those,
okay.
it was really beneficial.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So,
Is there any other questions? Those are some resources from Sevench. And I think we are done so far. I would like to thank you all for showing up. I hope you really enjoyed your time with us and that the resources are helpful. I'm thankful also for my colleagues and Sevench and Tati and for Emmanuel for showing up today. So if any one of you would like to say anything before we close, please say it, Tatia.
yeah, I want to say, I want to say,
something? Okay.
yeah, I want to really say thank you and appreciate your attention to the situation we have right now. It looks like we are fine, but not all of us. I mean, not all of teachers and people of Ukraine. And we want to use this opportunity to share best practices you have and your colleague. So thank you for being engaged in that. And thank you for your generous and very knowledgeable team, starting in the order of appearance from Emmanuel for creating and sharing this opportunity for Ukrainian teachers to be part of EdTech. And then Tatia for very unique look at tech during the war, very interesting, and it might be very helpful for further investigation how tech might help cope with such emergencies in the world. And of course, Marva, thank you for this so high science approach to learning, so deep and rooted in a very really powerful instrument. And of course, Sevinch, your access to the world of resources, and also interesting experience you shared with how small children can create this virtual reality for themselves. Really, thank you very much, and we will consolidate this and also make some recommendation and share this video and presentation to our community, to teachers, and we try to go to as much public as possible to get this knowledge and these advices for all teachers who might need it, either in Ukraine or outside, whatever. Thank you very much. Really.
Thank you, Vladimir, for giving us this opportunity, actually, to join you and to do anything for you. Please feel free to reach out at any time. This is from my side. If Emmanuel, Sevinch, and Tatia are interested to say something before we close, please go.
Thank you very much.
So, thank you and hope to
Thank
see you again. Thank you.
Yeah, see you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Hope to see you again. Bye. Goodbye. Goodbye. Bye.